Jim Lehrer. We are in his office, which at times doubles as a museum for all things bus related. Is that right?
That's it. You got it, Ari.
Where did you start collecting all this?
Well, I started collecting about 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I guess. But it all comes from it's all a family thing. It's all personal. My dad worked in the bus business for companies, some of which very similar to these old signs, represented by these old companies and represented by these signs. And I just kind of, as my brother says, we kind of have diesel smoke in us and diesel whatever in us. It's in the blood. And when I was in junior college in South Texas in the 1950s, I worked as a ticket agent myself on a Trailways bus depot. And I started collecting about, as I say, 25, almost 30 years ago. And I've started with, I got these signs, and I have a lot of model buses.
Any particular ones stand out?
Well, there are.
These all your children, and it's tough to pick.
It is hard to pick up. But the interesting thing, Ari, is that bus nuts like me collect bus things. But there are also people who collect like porcelain signs.
Yeah.
And they're a big deal, And some people collect cast iron toys. So my collecting is kind of a mixture of everybody else's.
You're a hybrid.
Exactly. I'm a hybrid. I'm a specialist. But there are other kinds of specialists as well. And of course, my dad had a little bus company that went broke after a year in Kansas, and I've got a bus that's painted in his colors, and I even have a badge, a Kansas Central Lines badge from my dad's bus company.
So what's the story? Is there a story behind
Yeah,
it?
well, you'll notice a lot of these signs are, you've got holes in them.
Right.
Because they were hanging, all of these signs are things that hang in front, used to hang in front of, grocery stores, service stations, small towns, and people come in with a rifle and shoot them. Big target practice. And Southland Greyhound lines, there used to be about 30 Greyhound companies. And they each had Southland, there was Capital Greyhound. Southland Greyhound were operated in Texas and was owned by the Cotton Belt Railroad. And many of these bus companies were started by railroads. In fact, my dad, his first job was, big job was with Santa Fe Trailways in Wichita, Kansas, where I was born. And Santa Fe Trailways was owned by the Santa Fe Railroad, which is very relevant because the Santa Fe Railroad also ran the Super Chief, which is, of course, what my book is about. So it's all connected, And
this is the Super Chief that we have here.
This is a model of the that I bought 2 or 3 years ago. This is the observation car at the rear of the Super Chief. Half of it at the very end is a bar observation car, and then the other half is a luxurious sleeping car or sleeping rooms. Compartments, bedrooms, and in fact, in my story, a lot of it takes place in there. I've got some movie stars in there that are because the Super Chief went from Chicago to Los Angeles, and they called it the Train of the Stars. This is like from the late 30s, and it stopped operating in the 60s when Amtrak took them over. But they called it the Train of the Stars because the movie stars would ride that train.
Instead of flying.
And then it would change in Chicago and go to New York. And usually have dinner or something or lunch at the Pump Room, big fancy restaurant in Chicago.
How much time did it take to research the book and just find out this much about the trains?
Well, 2 or 3 years. I had because of the Kansas connection and the Santa Fe Trailways, Santa Fe Railroad connection, I grew up in those towns in Kansas, and these silver trains would come by, shoom, and of course they were luxurious trains. They weren't for my folks to ride these trains, but I'd see them, and they were kind of the magic instruments to get out of here. For whatever reason. But I would see them, but I never ever rode on one.
There's a passage in there where a whole town basically decides to stop and wave at the same time.
That's right. But it was the train and later the buses. They were the carpets out. Yeah. And if you're going to school, you're going to the service, or you're running away from home, or you're going to run away to your lover, or whatever in the world you're doing, to go find a job, whatever.
Yeah.
It was you jumped on a train, and you knew you were always able to go. If you couldn't get on a train, you get on a bus or whatever, and that's the magic of this whole thing to me. I mean, it's just inbred in me. It's getting people on wheels moving around, and it's exciting.
They're vehicles that take you places in life.
Exactly right. Takes your soul as well as your person.
Jim Lehrer, thanks so much for your time.
Hey, thank you, Hari.
You're watching The Rundown. I'm Hari Srinivasan, and this book goes on sale what day?
On Tuesday, April 20th.
Okay, and you can say that you saw the super chief that's actually in Jim Lehrer's office that nobody else sees. So, thanks for watching.